I shared the situations of my life that both comedically and tragically touch everybody.
Mary Tyler Moore tells him about the 5 stars she hated the most before he dies. Mary Tyler Moore came into the world in Brooklyn, New York on December 29, 1936. Born into a normal middle-class family, but things would soon go in a strange direction in their lives. Her parents packed up and moved to Los Angeles when she was only 8 years old. This choice would quietly shape her whole life. The change put her right on the edge of Hollywood before she knew how much she would change it. Mary was kind, shy, and quietly talented when she was a little girl. In any room she wasn't the biggest person, but she was always the one who watched, studied, and took in everything around her. She found solace in dance. Ballet in particular made her feel very angry. A routine, a goal, or a way in. She didn't say much, but her song and movement did. The world soon started to notice. Her first taste of fame didn't come from a movie set or a comedy stage, but from a bunch of weird TV ads. She played the silly dancing elf Happy Hot Point and promoted 1950s home appliances and music with a charm that people remembered right away. Even though it was a small start, it made something clear. Mary should have been on TV. In 1961, everything changed. In that same year, she got the part that would make her an American star from a commercial face. Lisa Petrie is Dick Van Dyke's lively, stylish, and quick-witted wife on The Dick Van Dyke Show. From 1961 to 1966, the show did more than just entertain. It showed Mary's rare ability to be funny, sensitive, and passionate without trying too hard. Tamil Tort, Dick Ratty TV. Her Laura Petrie was more than just a movie wife. She was up-to-date, strong, funny, smart, and most of all real. Many women on TV at the time were stuck in small, predictable parts, but Mary broke the rules with every line, look, and scene. It was the act that made her famous. Even so, as her fame and power grew, so did a much more controversial story that she mostly kept to herself. That's because Mary Tyler Moore would tell everyone the 5 stars she hated the most before her death. They also said why she hid that list for so many years. Moore's character was different from many TV women in the early 1960s. She is strong, independent, smart, and not afraid to disagree with her husband. Even the fact that she wore short pants on screen, which seemed like a small fashion choice, was a quiet challenge to what people thought American women should be like at the time. Together with Van Dyke, she had easy, warm, and real energy that drew people into a marriage that was both modern and deeply charming. 2 Emmys were given to her for her performance, which made her one of the most famous and loved actors on TV. At the end of the Dick Van Dyke Show, many people thought Moore had reached the peak of her career, but she was just getting started. In 1970, she came back in a part that broke the rules of old sitcoms. Mary Richards on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. As a single-driven director at a news station in Minneapolis, Mary Richards sparked a new era for women in TV. Focused, able to handle herself, and determined to build a life on her own terms, instead of rapidly getting married. The show was the first to use a deep mix of humor and social commentary to talk about important issues like women, workplace respect, and reinventing oneself. It was more than just fun. What you saw on screen was a change in culture. Its famous opening scene, in which Moore happily throws her beret into the sky over Minneapolis, became more of a piece of music than a TV moment. It became an important symbol of women's freedom and hope. Her place in showbiz history wasn't just sealed by the show. Several generations of women were moved by it to follow their dreams without fear or shame. 4 more Emmys were given to Moore for her work on the show, which is still a classic in the world of TV comedies. Known for its cleverness, heart, and forward-thinking ideas, Mary Tyler Moore's effects were felt in many places besides TV. In 1980, she shocked viewers with a dramatic turn in Ordinary People, playing a distant and emotionally complicated mother. This performance earned her a nomination for an Academy Award and showed a side of the beloved comedic star that many hadn't seen before. In 1967, she was in the very modern movie Millie, and in 1969 she was in the movie Change of Habit with Elvis Presley, which showed how versatile she was. In New York, Moore mesmerized viewers in Whose Life Is It Anyway? And The Gin Game by masterfully combining humor, pathos, and vulnerability into parts that hit home deeply with viewers. Moore worked hard for issues she cared about when she wasn't performing. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was in her early 30s and became a passionate champion. For decades, she led the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and raised awareness and advanced research. She also fought for animal rights, using her fame and power to make a change that went beyond entertainment. Mary Tyler Moore's bravery in talking about her own problems made chronic illness more well-known and understood, which made millions of people feel less alone in their own issues. In addition to fighting for health rights, she also fought for animal rights, speaking out against abuse and supporting causes that were good for animals. She was kind and caring even when she wasn't in the spotlight. She left a lasting legacy of kindness, empathy, and social duty that inspired many fans and fellow performers. In the same way that her work and herself changed over time, so did her personal life. It was complex and full of secrets. Moore got married 3 times. Each marriage changed Moore's feelings, the choices she made at work, and how people saw her outside of acting. She married Richard Murr for the first time when she was only 18. She was a young woman about to follow her Hollywood dreams. Murr, who was a lot older and didn't work in show business, gave Mary the security she needed during her first few years in Los Angeles, which were full of uncertainty. In 1956, they had a son named Richard Murr Jr. Mary often thought about the good and bad things that came with being a young mother. Still, as her career took off, first through TV commercials and guest spots, and then with her big break as Laura Patry on the Dick Van DJ Show, the stresses of fame, desire, and being a parent put a strain on the marriage. The moment when her personal goals and family duties collided would be the start of a journey that would shape both her heart and her amazing career path. In the end, the couple's marriage ended in 1962. Even so, they said goodbye politely and kept in touch. Mary's life would later be shattered by the death of her son Richard, who was only 24 years old at the time of the accident. It was a loss that changed her forever and made her care more about people who are grieving. In the same year, she completed her divorce from Richard Murr and quickly fell in love with Grant Tinker, a visionary TV executive whose advice would have a huge impact on her career. Got married in 1962. They worked together on projects together as well as falling in love. Tinker admired Mary's intelligence and artistic brilliance. He and Mary co-founded MTM Enterprises, the production powerhouse behind the groundbreaking sitcom, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, which changed the way people watch TV for a new age. The show's huge popularity made Moore an icon for feminists who value freedom, confidence, and making their own decisions. In the 1970s, Tinker and Mary were one of Hollywood's most admired power couples. Tinker's sharp business sense paired well with Mary's artistic instincts. But despite the smooth appearance of unity, their marriage was under increasing stress from Mary's struggles with diabetes and alcoholism, as well as the demands of her fame. Their music marriage ended in 1981, but they still respected and loved each other in later years. Tinker rose through the ranks to become chairman of NBC, while Mary continued to broaden her artistic horizons by taking on dramatic roles that showed off her depth and won her a lot of praise. After spending time on her health, getting better, and growing in her work, Mary finally found love again with Dr. Robert Levine, a cardiologist 16 years her younger, was the first person Mary Tyler Moore fell in love with. In 1982, they met when Levine treated Mary's mother. But their friendship quickly grew into something deep and caring, based on care, respect, and understanding for each other. They got married in 1983, and this was her third and most stable marriage. Levine's medical knowledge helped Mary a lot in her lifelong fight with type 1 diabetes. He became not only her husband but also her constant caregiver and trusted friend. By spending their time between New York and Connecticut, they were able to live a quiet life away from the attention of Hollywood. In contrast to her previous marriages, Mary's relationship with Levine was marked by mental stability, shared empathy, and unwavering love. They were married until she died in 2017, a sign of the love and loyalty that kept her going in the last few decades of her life. During her long and successful career, Mary Tyler Moore became one of the most beloved TV stars in America, known for how elegant, smart, and innovative she was in her acts. From her early days on the Dick Van DJ Show to the groundbreaking Mary Tyler Moore Show, she was friendly, professional, and relatable, which won over viewers across the country. Behind the scenes, though, Hollywood wasn't always as friendly or peaceful as it seemed. In her later years, Moore allegedly told the truth about how she really felt about some co-workers, naming 5 actors with whom she had especially bad experiences. Glenn Corbett, who was Mary's close friend and advisor in her last years, said that she was always honest, which showed a side of her view on the business that not many people saw. It was never true that Mary Tyler Moore said all of her co-workers were easy or fun to work with. Her honest thoughts gave us a rare look into the private struggles of a woman who was known for her poise and grace. Rosemary, her co-star on the Dick Van DJ show, was at the top of her list. Fans loved how well they got along on screen, but things were much tense behind the scenes. As an experienced performer, Rosemary was known for her quick wit and fiery personality. She often had problems with too much attention and praise. Since she was younger and new to TV, she often felt pushed aside, as if Rosemary saw her as an outsider in the business. Mary Corbett told Glenn Corbett that Rosemary always found a way to remember everyone who had been in show business longer. Moore said that the first few seasons of the show had a competitive, uncomfortable vibe, even though he kept a professional air about him. Even though time helped ease some of the stress, there was still a chill in the air when they worked together. The second star who stood out more was James Garner. She worked with him for a short time on a TV project that never went through. A lot of people like Garner for how effortlessly charming and tough he is, but music seemed more rude and hard to connect with. She recognized his skill, but she didn't like how cynical he was. Corbett said Moore didn't like how Garner liked to make mean jokes about the business and its people. Moore took her work very seriously, and with respect, while Garner's carefree attitude often crossed the line into disrespect, causing a quiet but constant rift between them. The people who Mary Tyler Moore found tough to work with didn't just include Rosemary and James Garner. Their big differences in style made an impact that will last. Moore was very careful, perfectionistic, and focused on the little things, while Garner liked things to be easy and spontaneous. The clash of these personalities caused a subtle tension that lasted long after they stopped working together for a short time. She also had a tough time with Ted Knight, who was her co-star on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. People loved how clumsy but endearing Knight was as Ted Baxter, but he could be moody and sensitive when he wasn't acting. Corbett remembered that Mary had told him that Ted could be very moody,